What's going on, my little piglets? It's your BFF Pork Chop here, and I'm coming at you with another story time with Pork Chop. I almost said work/life update because that's all I've been posting lately. But the story time, I took a poll, and thank y'all so much for those that participated in the poll. I greatly appreciate y'all. And I knew it was going to be the one that y'all picked. I knew I was going to have to do a vlog about the one that I picked. And that was my first date with my wife, the first time we ever met. And it was an interesting day back on July 12th, 2015 is when we met. We had been talking online for about a month, and then we just decided to meet. So she said, I'm going to come to Amarillo and see you, because she was living in Portales at the time. Portales, New Mexico is a small town. That's where Eastern New Mexico University is. And that's where she went to school. She graduated that year. She had a job at a flower shop there in Portales. And so she's like, I'm going to come see you. So she came and saw me. And she's like, but if you don't mind, I'm going to bring a couple of friends. And that's her friends, Kelsey and Luke, who were dating at the time. I don't think they were engaged yet, but they were dating at the time. And now they're married and living in Idaho. And they're both teachers, so they're both living the dream. And so they came, and I was like, well, if you're bringing a couple friends, I'm going to bring a friend. So I brought Chris with me. And so we agreed to meet at a certain time that morning. And I was, to make a long story short on that part, I was an hour late to our first date. And so we were going to meet at the Westgate Mall parking lot, because Westgate Mall didn't open until noon. I think we were going to meet at 10 was the agreed time, and I don't think I got there till... I can't remember the time specifically, but I know I was an hour late and the mall wasn't even open. That's all I can tell you. So we met, got out of the car with Chris, because Chris was my chauffeur. So actually he drove his truck. So Chris drove me to the mall, and then Kelsey and Luke drove, and we met. And it was surreal. You know, you've been talking to this person for a month, and you have these expectations. You have this notion that something... My pen's right there. You have this notion that they're going to have a certain trait. They're going to have a certain facial feature that whatever. So my wife, she wasn't what I expected when we first met. And by that, I mean her photos didn't do her justice. Her photos don't do her justice, because she is absolutely gorgeous. She was gorgeous the first day that we met. And, it was just like, I'm getting, just all these emotions rushing back to me just talking about it. But, the date is we were going to meet at the mall, because it was a public place. I wasn't going to let her go to my grandma's house yet or anything like that. So we met at the mall, and then we went to the zoo and let her see the zoo and everything like that. And she kept trying to hold my hand the whole time. And of course I was holding it, we were just holding hands. And then of course Chris felt like a third wheel. Or a fifth wheel, I guess, because Kelsey and Luke were together, and Chris was just standing there with his hands in his pockets, looking at like the lions and all that stuff. And he was just like, you could tell that he was just like, okay, this is awkward. And then after the zoo, we went to Pizza Planet, actually, for their Sunday lunch buffet. And we ate the buffet, and then we went and played lights off golf in the mall, which is a kind of like a glow-in-the-dark miniature indoor golf course. So we played golf, and I believe she beat the crap out of me. I think she beat the brakes off of me, if I'm not mistaken. I still have the scorecard from our first date. I still have that in my possession at home. And so we did that, and then we just walked around the mall. just walking, just mall rats at that point. We're just walking around. And then we stopped to get ice cream at a local place. It's kind of like Cold Stone, but it's called Marble Slab here in Amarillo. So we stopped to get ice cream. And then she told me that she had to leave, that she had to head home. And Chris had to leave. He had to go do something. And when he left, when it was time for him to leave, it was time for her to leave also. So she left. And, I was like, okay, well, let me walk you to your car. So I walked her to, it was actually Kelsey's. I think actually Kelsey drove. So like, let me walk you to the car. And so I walked her to the car, and she pinned me up against a brick pillar, and she just planted one right on me. She kissed me. It was our first kiss. And we kissed. Because I think I made a joke that I told her that, like, I'm a classy broad. I don't kiss on the first date or something like that. Or I've never kissed anybody on the first date. Or I made some kind of joke about it. And so I guess she just decided to say, screw that, and just planted one right on me. So that was our first date. We were just walking around, and, it was funny, though, because like she was talking about like decor and stuff like that, like for like like kitchen, like dinner plates and glasses and runners for kitchen tables, just stuff like that. She was just talking about stuff like that, and I could tell that it was just kind of like a wink wink, nudge nudge, hint hint, that she liked me, that she saw that it was gonna go somewhere. Because honestly, my biggest fear was that she drove all this way, which was a 2-hour drive down here, and she was just gonna be like, sorry, we're done, thanks for the memories, glad that we figured this out now. But no, it was actually very amazing. It was actually very good. And I can remember it like it was yesterday. And I remember coming home just full of euphoria, and I was just on cloud 10. And I was just, I was in love, guys. I'm still in love with her. And, just having that as our first, cornerstone of memories together, it was just incredible. It was amazing. And sure, there are some days where, I wake up and, she gets on my nerves. She gets on my last damn nerves. And there are some days where, more days than mine, but there are some days where I annoy the hell out of her. And that's just how you know that you can show all kinds of emotion and not just love towards somebody if you really care for them. And that's how I know that I really cared for her from the start. And she's just, man, she's incredible. She's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life. And I tell her this all the time, and it's true. But I thank God for her almost on a daily basis, where I just take a step back and I'm like, okay, what would my life be like without her? And in all honesty, it looks kind of lonely, to be honest with you. Sure, I probably could have met somebody else, but it probably wouldn't have been as special and as impactful as it was with her. And I just, in all honesty, I'm thankful for her. And, I dedicated a lot of songs to her. There's a lot of songs that I told her that this is how I feel about you. This is the song that I feel about you. And she received those songs, and just, she knew from the start, that this is how I felt for her. This is how I cared for her, and vice versa. And 18 months after I said hello, I married her. Well, actually, no, I didn't marry her. I proposed to her 18 months into our relationship. And there were people around me saying, oh, Colin's a little too fast. It's a little ridiculous. It's a little too obviously fast. It's a little too fast. And, you know, my response was always a shoulder shrug and said, when you know, you know. And I knew the moment that I laid eyes on her in person, not just her pictures, I just knew. And I'm gonna actually talk a little crap on her right now, and it's kind of funny. So she ghosted on me for a couple of days of the month that we were talking before we met. She actually ghosted on me a couple of days, and she told me, "Hey, I'm sorry. I was busy. I was doing this. I was doing that. And, you know, I'm sorry. I'm back now." And my response, she said it killed her on the inside. My response was, "Oh, that's okay. I just thought you ghosted on me like all the other chicks I've talked to." She like, that breaks my heart. And I was like, well, that's how it was at a very extended period of time. Was I met her on Plenty of Fish, and for those of you that are looking for somebody, I recommend Plenty of Fish. I'm not endorsed by them or anything, or they're not endorsed by me. That's just how I met my wife. That's how my love story began. So maybe one of y'all's can start that way. But I met her on Plenty of Fish, and we talked for a little bit, and then she ghosted on me because she was talking to another guy. She admitted this very quickly in our relationship, but at first she's like, "Yeah, I've just been busy," and yada yada yada. But I think like one of the first couple of times that we saw each other face to face, she pretty much confessed to me that actually I was talking to this other guy and things kind of fell through, and I was like, oh, you realized the grass wasn't greener. Oh, because I've had a relationship like that before. Not to name names, but I had another long distance relationship that was a disaster. And that was because I dated her and she lived about 2.5 hours away. We just made it official. And it turns out that she was kind of seeing this other guy while I was here and she was there. And it was, you know, she was like, "Well, I'm leaving you for this guy. You provide everything I need except for physical touch, and that's what I need the most." And of course I was heartbroken. I was like, "Yeah, whatever, you know, fine, it's cool, whatever." Only a couple months into the relationship, this happened. And then she came back and realized that the guy that she was talking to was I think he was an abusive guy. So she left me for this abusive guy and then came back with her tail between her legs and apologized. And I was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, you're welcome back, you know, welcome back, whatever." And then not even like 2 more months after that, same thing. She was at work and this guy started hitting on her and she liked him. So she approached him and told me again, "I need physical touch and you don't provide that for me." And I was like, "Well, you're right. I'm sorry because you're 2.5 hours away, but this sucks." And of course she's like, I want us to still remain friends. And I was like, "Whatever, cool. We can still talk. It's no big deal." And then she ended up marrying the guy, and now they're divorced. And a funny thing is she had sent me a friend request a couple of days before I proposed to Jocelyn. She sent me a friend request, and I just let it sit there. I was like, I'm just gonna let it sit here. And the day that I proposed to her, the friend request disappeared. I was like, oh, who would have thought? Oh my goodness. But anyway, enough about her. That's a little bit more of a salty like inside to a previous relationship. But anyway, this is about my wife. This is a celebration for her. Valentine's Day isn't really a thing that we celebrate because she's a florist, and Valentine's Day just doesn't exist for the most part because she's working the entirety of Valentine's Day and past it. She's even working tomorrow, which pretty much for florists is National Oh Shit I Forgot Day. for guys that forgot to get their significant other's flowers, so they try to get the flowers as quickly as possible the following day. So she's even working that like a full shift tomorrow. And I told her, I said, you're a warrior. You're badass. I love you. You're such a hard worker. I'm so proud of you. I love you. And just to let her know that I still care for her. I'm still madly in love with her, and I appreciate everything she does. And that's all I have to say. This actually went on a little bit longer than I anticipated, but just wanted to say happy Valentine's Day to the piglets. Thank you so much for picking this topic. It's something I really wanted to talk about with y'all. And I just hope you guys had a great Valentine's Day, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy I think it's also National Singles Awareness Day and also Cheap Chocolate Day. So go get your go get your cheap chocolate tomorrow. And for those of you that are a little perverted, apparently for the rest of the day, I think Pornhub Premium is free. Is what I was told yesterday. My manager at work's like, hey, Pornhub Premium's free. And I'm like, oh, it is? Well, that's cool for the single guys. So there you go, guys and gals. Thank y'all so much once again for dropping by. Happy Valentine's Day once again. And always remember my little piglets, Colin Pork Chop loves y'all the most. Y'all take it easy, guys, and I'll see y'all next time. Leave me more suggestions for story time, and I will get to those stories. Or maybe one of the ones that y'all voted on that didn't make the cut, maybe that's something that y'all pick next time. Bye, guys!